Okay, I'm away from home over at my daughter's, dog sitting, and I'm making my video over here, so I don't have my normal setup. But here, this is Dr. Barry Awe, who does a lot of prophecy stuff, and uh, he has this interesting idea about Pentecost, that is, and that it's the feast of wine, and Shavuot being Ascension Day, and which is contrary to the current views. uh, I think he makes a pretty good case for that. I don't know if he's right or not, but his arguments do seem to be pretty sound, as far as I can tell. So, but aside from that, there's one area I think him and a lot of his fellow uh, watchers on the wall, as they call themselves, are wrong, is about Daniel's 70th week, the timing on that. And I made some videos on that. But here I'm going to try to apply it to the feast days. And so I've made this little drawing here. And if you see this, there's, oh, and I'm going to put here. I forgot to put this here. Here is Sukkot, which is 7 days. But there's 7 sevens, so that's 49. So you got 49 days here. When you go through one, because Daniel's week has seven in it, and most people think it's years. So this would be like the first year. Given Daniel's week, we start here. Where's my start? Oh, we start here. We start here, and that's the first year, second year, third year, fourth year, fifth year, sixth year, seventh year, and we start over again. First, this would be the second week in Daniel's week. Year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The third week, and as we count them off, ultimately there's 70 weeks, so we go through this 70 times, and this is the start. I'm arguing in Sukkot, that's the start of the, I think it's the secular year, yeah. And then up here we have the Feast of Fruits, which is 7 days. So this would be like the first half of this Daniel's week, and this would be the second half. And so you could see how this kind of goes around. We go around see, here's the calendar: fall, winter, spring, fall. So we go around this 70 times, but there's a catch here, and so I have it so that when you've gone around and you started on the 70th week, we have this little test here. We have counter. So we come back around, we count the week. We start off with week 1, we click, we come around there, and if it says, if we're on the 7th week, we bypass the counter, but otherwise we count off another one. So we come back around and we start week 1, and then we come back around week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, until we get week 70. And when we get to week 70, we stop counting because this is the last week. So, but week 70 has 7 years in it. So we start counting off the last 7 years of week 70. So that'd be year 1 and week 70, year 2, 3, 4. Here's the middle of the week, 4th year, 5th, 6th, and 7th. But there's another catch here. Once we get to the middle of the week, I have another test here, is if we're in the 7th week, we stop counting the second. This is the counter for the second half of the week. So we count off the first half around here, then count the second half, go back around, second half. So we counted up 70 weeks here, but we haven't counted off the 7th year. We haven't counted the 7th year. Instead, we split through here, and we start another count, the 1,000 years. This is the gap period. So we go through here. So we go around So we don't go to the 70th week, second half. We put in the middle, and the way you just kind of see this is there's the first half of the week. There's the 1,000 years, and I made a chart on this. And there's the second half. So we go around, and then here's the 62, and here's the 7. So we go around 7 times, no, 49 times. Around here, 62 times 7 times. And then we get to here, and we go around 3.5 times. And then we keep going around, but we don't count here. We're counting off to 1,000. So we go around 1,000 times, and then we go around and go around the other 3.5. And my argument, this is the first coming of Christ. This is the second coming, and this is the church age. So, I have a couple of videos, 3 or 4 videos on that. So what I'm adding here is like, this kind of shows the calendar here. Like when you go around, here's Feast of Trumpets, here's Yom Kippur, then there's Sukkot. We go around there's Hanukkah somewhere around here. Then we come around here and there's Passover, then Feast of First Fruits, then Feast of Weeks. That's after this. And so we have the events here, like perhaps Jesus was born. See, some people think this has yet to be fulfilled, but I'm thinking maybe it has been fulfilled. This is a Feast of Trumpets. If Jesus was conceived on Hanukkah, about 9 months later would be the Feast of Trumpets in the fall. The shepherds could be out in their fields because it's not winter yet and it's not cold. And then 7 days later, he's circumcised. And that's a decision. When he's circumcised, that at any rate, so these 2 events may have already been fulfilled. First Fruits and Yom Kippur. Then we click through all these, and when we get to, then like Passover's been fulfilled. And so what I'm thinking is that Sukkot and Booths is when Christ was with us. And so he was with us for the 3.5 years. It seems like his earthly ministry. And then if the rapture happens, say here at the 7th week, right? At the end of the gap, say the rapture happens here, then this 3.5, this kind of thing, this. We've already clicked off this. When that trigger, when the 1,000 years is up, we only have 3.5 years, that second 3.5 years to click through. We've already clicked through the first 3.5 years. And, this is, you have to go through both of these to get a whole year. So if you stop here, you only did a half year. So when you go through here, we're with him in heaven. And then when we get to here, and if it's 1,000, that's the end. So we go through this 70 times 7 times, that's 490 times, plus 1,000. And this 1,000 is like heaven years. We don't know how many earth years that is. It could be 2,000 earth years, from 3,000, 4,000. Who knows how many earth years it is. So, and so then you kind of look at this like this is a feast of lights too. This is in, Hanukkah, I think, is the Feast of Lights. And Jesus is the light of the world, so when he's conceived, that's the light of the world came into this world. That's where he came into this world. Then, and if he's born on the Feast of Trumpets, that seems to fit there. And the trumpets, and the angels came down and played angel band, and so that's the trumpets. We can think of that. Now we celebrate Christmas here, which is maybe closer to his conception. So this little computer, it just is a way to compute these dates, and we could kind of see how they might play out here. So, anything else I want to say here? Uh, oh, and by the way, if since we've started Sukkot, or maybe it's still exactly when it started is kind of how you time the beginning of the month. But Dr. Barry he says you could use the stars and not just the moon. The moon in its position with the stars, meaning Virgo. Let me turn this back on. It kind of turned itself off. Anyway, so just when Sukkot started, whether it was a couple of days, whether it was the 16th or a couple of days from now, we're going through the cycle here. And, who knows if the rapture's now or it could be, again, we don't know what this count is. This count to 1,000 years, this being the church age. So, but see, this kind of bypasses this counter, which sort of freezes the 70 weeks counting. We've clicked off the first half here of the 70th week, but we hadn't clicked off the second half of the second week until the 1,000 years go by. Then we go take this path. So anyway, I think I did this right. I might have kind of goofed it up. Yeah, it's kind of tricky to do, but to get the idea across. So this seems to me to fit pretty well. And that's kind of when you're placing pieces on a puzzle. The way you judge how well the puzzle fits is how the pieces fit. There's you can see how they fit geometrically, like this. If this piece looks like that, it doesn't really fit there. Maybe this one does fit pretty good. It seems, but you can look at the picture. Here's a picture of like a tree, but this is a house. It doesn't really fit, even though it's shaped. The picture doesn't fit. So all we could really do is kind of fit these pieces and see how well they fit, and see if it doesn't quite fit, maybe it goes someplace else and it does fit. So that's the idea here. So I think I've covered all this. So, and interesting enough, and then here's the 8th days. I'm not sure what that signifies. And interesting enough, the Jubilees is you have to add this is 49 days. You have to add a day for the Jubilees to make 50. So the Daniel 7th weeks don't, just like the moon and the sun are kind of a little bit out of phase, so that it takes 365 and a half days is a year. No, 365 and a quarter day, almost a quarter. So that's why I have a leap year every 4th year. Oh, and by the way, we have a leap year here. Here's Adar here. Adar, and we might have an Adar 2 here every now and then. So that's another week. So you can kind of see this calendar. It does kind of click things in and out. It clicks in a Adar 2 every now and then as needed. So that's kind of the way. And then that's to keep the months in line with the sun. And then the moon phases. The moon's a month has like typically 30 days, 29, 30, or 31 days, I think. Or is it just 29 and 31? I can't remember. But the actual moon period is more like 28 and a half days, if I'm remembering, or something like that. So there's these things not being totally lockstep, but a little bit out of phase seems to be normal. So let me do this. We have these 50-year jubilees, and somewhere Daniel's 70th week starts. Let's just say it starts at the beginning of one of these. And then we have this 1,000-year break, and then it picks back up. We've had all these, so we don't know when it picks back up, so that it can kind of bring it back in sync there. So at any rate, so this is the 50 years. And there's the 49. So you can kind of see they get 49, 49, 49, 49, 50, 50. They'll go out of phase and back in phase. And it takes, how many years? 50 times 49. So it takes a bunch of years for that to happen. 50, 45, 20, 2,450 years for it to get back in sync. But that's, so we don't know, but that's just kind of like, that's kind of par for the course. The moon, and like I say, moon and sun and the month, there's a little bit of a play in there where the phases can change. So, whether this is right or not, I can't say. I could just say that these puzzle pieces seem to fit pretty good that way, but that doesn't mean it's right. It just means it's maybe plausible. Now, this is not a popular view. As far as I can tell, there's not many people. If there's people who support this, they're kind of laying low because I can't really find them on the internet. I kind of looked recently, but over the years I've looked and doesn't seem to be many that hold this view. So does that mean it's wrong? Or maybe it means it's right. I don't know. It could be either way. One could argue either way. So rather than do that, I'm just saying here it is for whatever it's worth. So let me end the video here.